What is happening, guys? It's Goody here, and welcome back to Goody27Modz month. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you around Numa to try and uncover some of the storyline. I'm going to go into NoClip to see if there's anything outside the map that you may not have seen before. It's a really interesting stuff. It's going to be a great video, and yeah, straight off the bat, I just want to say that this map of the 4 original ones in World at War is the glitchiest by far. Honestly, when you go NoClip, the rounds just shoot on by, the zombies start to glitch out, sometimes the game even freezes. It's a really odd map. I've not experienced that in any other maps that I've been on NoClip on. Numa is a really weird one and a weak one. In fact, there was loads of glitches day one, like barrier glitches and stuff like that. It's a really weird map. So let's give you some backstory of Numa straight of all. So this was the first map that we saw our 4 original characters, and we finally get an idea of who they are and where they came from and why they came to Numa in the first place, which was to get Richtofen. Now, it is believed that this map came slightly before Verrückt and just after Der Riese, as this was before Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takeo had lost their memory, and you know that because they have a clear objective at the start of the Numa trailer to go and get Richtofen. And it is also believed that when they were trying to capture Richtofen, when they found him, they were overpowered and then MIA. They were missing in action because Richtofen had then captured them, and then this leads on to Verrückt and Der Riese when they were being tested on and their memory wiped. So that's really interesting stuff, and this whole map surfaced really due to the 115 meteor that came down and fell into Numa, which can be found off of storage. Richtofen then set up a quarters around here so that he could test away from the Der Riese facility, and then many things like the zip line and the boxes of 115 shows how the element was moved around and transported externally, which is really interesting. So let's start off at spawn. There are 3 radios, and if all are activated at the same time, they play a message intended for Peter McCann, the hanging man, which expresses the need to contain the Der Riese facility after failing to contain Verrückt. This is the map Treyarch had a specific storyline in mind. This is like the first one they booted up. It's not the first one in chronological order, because we all know that's Der Riese where it all started, but this is the first map they released that had characters, a storyline, a sense of what was going on, you know, in the community. Really, it gave us loads to speculate. So yeah, the radios had loads of names like Dr. Maxis and Richtofen and the Der Riese facility and 115 and the Giant, all of that kind of stuff, allowing us to speculate, and it was really good, and it kind of set a base for the storyline. Also in the starting room is the corpse of Peter. We know it's Peter from how he's missing his left hand, and there was speculation of how he died to begin with. People thought it was a freak parachuting accident. He tried to parachute in and he'd accidentally hung himself, but no, he's deliberately been hung, we're assuming, by Richtofen. And another really weird trait of Peter is that if you manage to blow him down, if you manage to shoot him with a load of explosives or the ray gun, you manage to fall him, get him on the floor, if you touch him, your screen will turn to grey and your game will restart. You'll die, your game will restart. I have no idea why it does this. Treyarch like to put really weird Easter eggs and stuff in the game. This is by far one of the strangest ones. I have no idea why it does this. It blows my mind, really. Now let's focus on a piece of paper you can find downstairs. The piece of paper contains the word Die Glock, and that basically means the bell. And if you research it, Die Glock was actually the Nazi bell, and it was allegedly a Nazi secret weapon. Now, if Treyarch were referencing this, they could be actually conforming it and referencing it into their own Nazi secret weapon built at Der Riese, the German super soldier, which is highlighted in all the radios around that map, and it's like their own spin on this Nazi secret weapon, which would be fucking awesome. Die Glock, back then in the real world, was actually Hitler's time portal, a device that he had hoped would allow him to time travel. So with that said, perhaps the teleportations in Der Riese was like the first step towards time travel. We know they're capable of time travel, so perhaps that was like the first step in putting you somewhere else, and you know, traveling you in time, which is really interesting. Now let's focus on some of the writing on the wall. Tunguska, first of all. This is actually found. You can't see this if you're in the map. You have to go NoClip. But Tunguska is in one of the huts of a zombie spawning, and basically this is referencing the Tunguska event, which was a large explosion caused by an asteroid or a comet, which occurred near the Tunguska River in Russia. I have no idea why it's referencing it in Numa, because we know Numa is not in Russia. However, I think it's referencing basically the 115 meteor, and maybe it's referencing that more than one 115 meteor fell across the world, so maybe there's even more locations that Richtofen has, like a doctor's quarters, and has set up testing with 115, he's got more sources around the world, which is really, really interesting. And this links back to these meteor Easter eggs back in Verrückt with those date and time and the coordinates. And there's also a hidden writing of the power will destroy us all. It's interesting links with the power will reunite you back in Verrückt, and it's a running theme of having the power to control zombies. Again, this is outside the map. You can only really see this with a sniper rifle. And then I want to quickly just brief upon the Numa teleporter. Again, all speculation with the zombie community, and we know in terms of the storyline there is a teleporter in Numa. However, it's not in the map. We know that Richthofen would transport to Der Riese and back, and that's how he transport the 115 and himself to get to the Der Riese facility via a teleporter. However, we originally thought it was going to be like behind the comm room or the doctor's quarters, but it's just not. It's not in the map, but it is in the zombie storyline. We know it's in there through the storyline, and the two common places, as I said, was the comm room and then the doctor's quarters. But if we focus on the doctor's quarters, we focus on Richthofen's dwelling, we can actually look at his bookcase, and if you hold X, you can hear a demonic laugh, it's really, really eerie. Again, all the eerie stuff in Verrückt is kind of being brought through to Numa, and I really, really like that. And then, second to last is the One, the hidden song, The One by Alina Siegman. If you go to the comm room, you find the phone, you mash that 3 times with the X button, the use button, and it says, I know where you're sleeping. You dial 911 on the phone, and it plays The One, which is, oh, it's so good. The zombie song is so good in this map. It's one of, if it's not my favorite, it's like one of the favorite. And then lastly, I want to touch upon the iOS version of Numa. It has an exclusive Easter egg in it. So by opening all the areas, a quote will say, all areas unlocked, now find the grave. And the knife, your melee weapon, will become a shovel. The player will receive a Wunderwaffe DG2 after digging the grave of Peter. You will see a grave marked Peter because you don't actually have the hanging man in the starting room. You have to find Peter's grave. Once you dig it up, you get a Wunderwaffe, which is really, really interesting. I absolutely love that. But there we go, guys. That is the entirety of all the secrets in Numa, a bit of backstory. If you like the video, please rate, comment, subscribe. It has been Goody, and goodbye.